February 14, 2018, a gunman opened fire on Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The gunman killed 17 people and injured another 17. This caused many people to take a stance on gun control. It is a horrible reality that we live in a world where going to somewhere that is a public area causes fear of being shot. Areas like malls, movie theaters, and schools. As scary as these things are, it's not fair to make the gun the culprit, especially when guns are usually the things that bring these horrible events to an end. That is why today I plan to address whether or not we should ban guns completely, and I hope today to persuade you that we should not. I will try to persuade you by explaining the role that guns play in protecting people and explaining that making something legal does not necessarily take it out of the hands of the people, and by explaining the different ways that criminals can find to hurt people. The main reason that I think that guns should not be completely banned is because that they protect innocent people. Home burglaries leave many people scared and vulnerable. The idea of someone coming into your home and taking your belongings and hurting you and your family is terrifying. The alarms.org website, last updated December 2015, states that there are 1.6 million home burglaries every year. The website also says that if you know a burglary is going on, you should call 911 and yell things like, "Honey, get the gun." Because whenever home invaders hear that there is a gun involved, they are much less likely to go on with the invasion. The idea of not being able to defend oneself with a gun is very scary. As a young girl who lives by herself, I understand that if a man wants to come into my home and hurt me, there's not much I can do to protect myself without a use of a gun. Guns can also give women a fighting chance against men in the instances of sexual assault and rape. In the March 21st, 2019 Inquirer piece entitled, "My Gun is My Equalizer," Savannah Lindquist explains how, as a rape victim, she feels that if she had a gun and had it on her at the time of the attack, she would have been able to defend off of her attacker. If someone has a gun and another person doesn't, it's not very difficult to know who's going to win that fight. However, some people believe that if you just take away guns, the whole problem will just go away. But I want to challenge that assumption. My second main point is that if you make things illegal, they will not just simply disappear. When there is a demand for a commodity, there will always be a supply because there is money to be made. If we force guns to be illegal, then that will just cause them to move to the black market. During January 2019, the U.S. Department of Justice released a special report surveying prison inmates and their source of their guns. It found that 90% of inmates do not buy their guns at a store. Criminals already do not care about the law, so if we make guns illegal, that just means that criminals will continue their pursuit of guns, but law-abiding citizens will not. This will mean that there will be a disproportionate amount of people without guns that are not criminals, and more criminals will have guns. So that means that non-criminals will not be able to adequately defend themselves. Society already has a very clear example of this when it comes to drugs. Drugs like heroin, meth, and cocaine have been illegal for a long time now. However, this has not done much to keep them out of the hands of people. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse website, last updated June 2015, they show that illegal drug use is at 24.6 million, and that does not include marijuana usage. This shows that the war on drugs has not done much to keep drugs out of the hands of criminals. Now that we have talked about how guns protect people and how making guns illegal won't stop criminals from getting them, we can move on to discussing other ways that criminals can hurt people. The last reason I think guns should not be completely banned is because this will not stop violence. Criminals will always find a way to hurt people. There is a lot more ways to kill mass amounts of people. We have seen this time and time again with bombings, people using trucks to run through crowds, and more elaborate events like 9/11. According to a July 14, 2017 New York Times piece entitled "France Remembers Nice, We Will Never Find the Words," there were 86 people who were killed that day at the hands of that murderer. But did people blame the truck? No. They blamed the man that was driving it. When deciding whether or not to be against guns, a person should take time to look at how guns protect people, how demand will not go away once that they are illegal, and the other ways that criminals can hurt people. After looking at these points, you can see that the gun control debate is not black and white. It has a lot of gray area. However, one can say that there are significant reasons as to why we should stop and think about the reasons to keep guns around. Next time you hear about a horrible shooting, it is worth time to think about how we can stop people from becoming shooters rather than just trying to take away their guns.